The series begins with the child Harry, who lives with his parents and his younger brother. Harry is obsessed with magic shows and watches them constantly until one day one of the performers calls out to him and asks him to help push the box with him, where his assistant is inside. Harry pushes part of the box, which suddenly splits into two halves, revealing the assistant's body with her head in one place and her legs in another. Then the magician asks Harry to return the box to its place. It looks like the girl's body became part of someone else's, and she stands up from her spot. Everyone is amazed, and they applaud Harry and the magician. From that moment, Harry's eyes light up. He wishes to become a sleight-of-hand artist and a magician. One day, he begins to train himself on the performances, and he manages to do tricks much older than his age, like putting nails in his mouth and pulling out eggs in their place. People are amazed. Harry starts earning a lot of money. He returns home every day to his mother happy, and gives her all the money he earned. The mother is very happy for him, and it shows that she loves him and prays for him. Unlike the father, who is a very religious and strict person, he is not convinced by what Harry is doing. On Halloween, the whole family is having dinner together. Suddenly, there is a knock at the door. Harry opens it and finds children wanting candy, but the father shoos them away. Suddenly, there is another knock at the door, so the father goes to scold the children again. But he is surprised because he has been in the city for a long time and still hasn't learned English, and so they won't be able to let him stay any longer. The father finishes. He is forced to travel with his family to another city. After a while, the father dies. Harry grows up and presents magic shows with his brother in many places. Harry keeps reading about the great magician Houdini, so he decides to call himself the magician Houdini and waits to become the great magician. Days pass. Harry meets his dream girl, Bess, who is in a dance performance at the theater. He is fond of her. He goes out with her until he decides to propose to her, and she agrees. So Harry decides to separate from his brother and perform shows with his wife under the name Houdini. Bess becomes his assistant in the shows. After a while, Harry thinks about how he can renew himself. He reads about magicians who can undo any kind of restraints and chains, so he decides to try. And he manages to undo chain after chain until he becomes a professional at it. He starts performing shows with all kinds of handcuffs, chains, and locks, which are all over his body. But then he thinks more intelligently, decides to go to the most maximum security prisons and try to escape from them to gain a larger audience. He actually lets the press witness the event from the beginning. He agrees with the warden to record it in exchange for a sum of money and offers him to punch him in the stomach. The warden agrees to take the money and punches Harry in the stomach and locks him in prison. But in exchange for getting out before midnight, Harry agrees. He says goodbye to his wife. Then the warden asks him to open his mouth to make sure he doesn't have any tool he could use to open the chains and the prison door. He confirms Harry has nothing on him and leaves. But Harry appears trying to pull out a lockpick he managed to keep in his throat, the one Bess had given him when she kissed him. Harry takes the lockpick used to open the handcuffs. He manages to get out of the cell and closes the door behind him. The warden returns on time with the press, and they write about Harry's appearance. People are amazed by him. The offers presented to Harry grow, and he starts to accumulate his wealth. One day he enters a shop selling handcuffs and chains to present something new to the audience. The shop owner watches him from afar, trying to impress him. He makes the flowers in front of him disappear and reveals them as an apple. Harry notices his talent and asks him if he can hide things completely. The owner, named Jim, tells him he will think of a solution. Then he shows him different types of lockpicks he designed himself, with which he can cut or open anything. Harry is impressed by the magic tools and asks him to show him more. They decide to collaborate to present new and completely different shows to the audience. Jim is hired as the person responsible for new show ideas. Because of Jim, more offers come to Harry. He manages to buy a big mansion for his mother, who always supported him, and gets her servants to help her. One day, Jim surprises Harry with a box called the torture cell, which is a box filled with water in which Harry is supposed to be trapped while bound by shackles and chains, and he must unlock them before his breath runs out, as if challenging death. Harry takes it from Jim to try, and he actually goes down into the box, but suddenly he knocks on the glass, asking them to get him out quickly, but the box lid gets stuck and they are unable to lift it. So Bess asks Jim to break the glass. Jim keeps trying to break it with all his might until Harry gets down. He tells them that they will try again. Harry practices it until he presents the show to the audience. He asks them to hold their breath to see the maximum time they can reach. The audience actually holds their breath while Harry takes off his clothes to go down into the water box. More than 2 minutes pass. The audience gets scared, and the team is asked to open the box quickly before he dies. Jim pulls away the curtain. Suddenly, Harry appears in front of them wearing different clothes as if he hadn't been in the box. The audience is amazed by him. Harry becomes known as the Great Houdini. In the capital, Washington, the head of intelligence appears with Harry's file. This is because he suspects he is a German spy. This is because he is of German-Hungarian descent. They decide to monitor him to confirm his real job. The head of intelligence believes that magic is just a cover for Harry. In London, Harry is walking the streets. Suddenly, he meets a person named Shelton, who asks him to be a spy for Britain. He tells him that his mission is to keep his ears and eyes open wherever he goes. This is because they are preparing for a world war in which America will fight on Britain's side against Germany and Russia. Mr. Shelton gives Harry a new passport indicating he is of American origin. This is so that no one will ever suspect him. Due to Harry's widespread fame across the globe, world leaders request private performances as he attends the first show for the German Kaiser, held in his private hall. Harry performs more than one act, but the Kaiser is uninterested, to the point that he won't even look at Harry through his binoculars. So Harry decides to grab his attention with a greater, more powerful trick to get closer to him. We go back in time to Harry's childhood after his father passed away. His father was a source of fear in his life because of his harsh and treatment. Because of Harry's love for magic, he decides to train with a famous magician who treats him very harshly, but Harry is forced to endure it in order to learn more. Until one day he is reading the book of the great magician Houdini, which talks about one of the greatest magic tricks, catching a bullet. So he asks him to teach him that move, but the magician gets angry at him and tells him he doesn't want to hear him mention that trick again. Suddenly he breaks down in tears while telling the story of the same trick he did with his son, but he died because of a mistake with the rifle. The magician continues to cry. Suddenly Harry shouts at him and tells him he's a liar because he read the same story in Houdini's book. The magician wipes his tears and speaks normally. He tells Harry that he is indeed a liar, and his magician is also a liar, because magic is just a reality built on lies. And the best magicians are the best liars. That is why he must master the art of acting and the techniques of lying. Harry thinks about the magician's words. He is shocked that his life's dream is based on books and deception. He decides to distance himself from the magician completely, but because of his love for it, he decides to go back to him and forget his past. We return to the theater, where the Kaiser is present. Harry asks him to send his best marksman, so the Kaiser sends the army commander. Harry chooses the 3 best marksmen based on their skills, and has them aim at a very specific spot. Then Jim loads the weapon in front of them. He shows them the bullet and the loading method to ensure they aren't lying. Jim hands the rifle to the army commander, whom Harry asks to aim once again. But suddenly Harry stands in the target's place. Everyone is shocked, and Tess is very scared. The Kaiser becomes intrigued for the first time and looks through the binoculars. The army commander is extremely terrified, but the Kaiser gives him the order to fire at the target. The army commander fires at Harry. After everyone turns away in fear, Harry appears before them alive and pulls the bullet from his mouth. The Kaiser is amazed and rises from his seat to applaud him. No one can believe how he managed to catch a bullet that fast with just his teeth. We go back 1 minute before the trick. We see Jim loading the rifle. Before handing it to the commander, he removes the bullet without anyone noticing. Harry already has a similar bullet in his mouth. He spits it out at the moment the commander fires the gun. They modify the rifle so that it emits the same sound as a real gunshot. Because the Tsar is impressed with him, he lets him see his army and all the preparations he is making for the war. Harry reports the information he learns day by day to British intelligence. After a while, Harry is invited to the ruling family in Russia, which is during the same period as the famous monk Rasputin, who is known as the true ruler of Russia due to his ability to heal the Queen's son, and also because of his relationship with the Queen herself. Harry goes to the Queen's palace, where he has a box and asks all the members of the royal family to write a wish they want to come true. Afterwards, Harry has the Queen's daughter choose a piece of paper from the wishes, and in Russian it means that the guard tower should ring again. The Queen tells him that this is an impossible wish, because the bell hasn't rung for 100 years, due to the fact that they are unable to reach it. But Harry tells them that nothing is impossible. At that moment, it appears that Jim is watching Harry. Harry opens the window, and the bell tower is right in front of him. Rasputin sees what is happening, so Rasputin speaks to Harry in Russian. He asks the Queen's daughter, who chose the wish, to come closer to him. He manages to turn the handkerchief in his hand into a rope. He asks her to pull the rope, and indeed, as soon as the rope is pulled, they hear the sound of the bell. They cannot believe how this happened. The child keeps pulling the rope, and the bell rings every time. Rasputin believes it and is very annoyed, so Harry approaches him and he punches him in the stomach. Harry has a high tolerance for being hit in the stomach. Rasputin's blow is very strong, but Harry pretends he is fine. The show ends. He reports what happened to British intelligence. We ask Mr. Shelton about the bell trick. Then we go back in time to before the trick, which Harry had planned from the beginning. It shows him switching the wish paper the girl chose with another one containing the bell wish, and at that moment, Jim appears with a sniper rifle. At the time the child pulls the rope, Jim shoots the bell to make it ring, and they are stunned. And Mr. Shelton with him. He tells him about the last mission he can carry out, which is stealing a file from the Colonel's files, the Russian through which they will know their plan. And he tells him the files are in the office safe, and the plan is to rent a theater very close to the Colonel's office. At the time Harry is performing a trick on stage, he will go steal the file from the safe, then return to the theater as if nothing had happened. The plan is foolproof, This is because Harry will have an alibi that he was on stage in front of the audience the whole time. The trick he will present to the audience is escaping from a locked safe. The set time is 10 minutes and the show begins. The team covers the safe with a curtain. Harry comes out from behind the audience. He climbs to the roof of the building. He jumps until he reaches the building where the colonel's office is. And there he climbs down from the balcony. He manages to reach the place and he sees the safe and he makes sure it is open. So he quickly takes the file and before leaving, he hears the colonel's voice. He is coming from outside with one of the call girls. He is shocked and quickly steps inside the safe. The colonel notices that the safe is open, so he quickly locks it and continues his night with the girl. Harry gets trapped in a real safe. He doesn't know its locking mechanism, nor has he practiced with it before. With low oxygen levels, Harry has to rely on his experience. He reviews all the locking systems that he learned from his childhood. He manages to find the gear that opens the safe. He waits until the colonel leaves. Meanwhile, at the theater, the audience is scared. The stage crew asks to open the safe. Tess knows that Harry is not there, but she doesn't know exactly where he is. She feels like he is cheating on her, and she is very upset and also certain that he will forget the day is their anniversary. The crew decides to open the safe, then suddenly they find it full of flowers and a letter for Tess. Suddenly Harry appears before them. He asks Tess to read the letter out loud. She realizes he didn't forget their anniversary. The whole audience applauds them, impressed by what they did. Then the curtain closes and they fight, Tess and Harry, because their entire life is a show to impress the audience, and that even their love has turned into a business for him, entertaining people. After that, she leaves him. From this moment, Tess and Harry's marriage begins to collapse. This is because of his great love for shows and theater, which makes him forget everything else. Over time, with the appearance of Charlie Chaplin as a strong competitor, Houdini's audience begins to decline. Due to his repetition of the same escape acts, and in the same, during this period, Charlie Chaplin appeared, who can make the audience laugh without speaking. So Harry thinks of a new way to impress the audience. Suddenly, he sees a glass full of ice. An idea comes to his mind, and he asks Jim to get the largest amount of ice and fill a bathtub with it. He stays in it for a long time. He keeps practicing every day for a month on keeping his body in nice temperatures until the promised day arrives. And Harry presents his show, but this time outside the theater. He stands in a high place. Below him is a hole in the ice where the temperature is below zero. Harry jumps into the freezing water. His body is covered in chains and handcuffs. In the moment he jumps in, his life flashes before his eyes and all his memories. Harry comes to his sense. He unlocks the handcuffs and chains, but he can't see the hole in the ice to get out. He keeps looking for it for a long time. Suddenly his mother appears before, as if she is guiding him on the way. Harry follows her, and he reaches the hole and manages to escape from death. Then he returns to his mother at her mansion. He sits with her and holds a big party in her honor because of his feeling of her presence and her great love for him at all times. After a period of time, Harry presents a new show. He wears clothes similar to a mental patient's uniform and makes the rest of the team hang him by his feet from a very high place. He is supposed to take off this uniform. Then he undoes his legs and lowers the rope to the ground. The only way he can escape the straitjacket is to dislocate his shoulder, meaning he shifts his shoulder muscle out of place. He learns how to dislocate his shoulder and put it back. He is able to perform the trick easily. The audience is dazzled by him. After the show, Bess argues with him. That's because she didn't know he would be so high up. She tells him he's now deceiving people like he deceives others. He tells her he represents people's fears and solves them before their eyes. Bess gets angry. She tells him he's not the Messiah and leaves him. Harry also leaves the house. He enters into a relationship with one of his fans. Then he returns home sad and regretful. He wants to apologize to Bess, but he can't find her anywhere. Suddenly Bess arrives. They make him choose between her and risking his life again. Harry chooses Bess. They decide to perform real shows without any risks. He starts his first show with the elephant, which he makes disappear in front of the audience. After the show, Harry becomes even more famous. So much so that Arthur Conan Doyle attends his shows, who is the author of Sherlock Holmes, the famous British detective. In one of Harry's shows, he is able to walk through a wall before everyone. He tricks them into thinking he's using only his mind to get through. Arthur is impressed by what happened. He waits until the show ends to take a look at the stage to know what trick Harry might be using. He finds no evidence that there is a trick. But in reality, Jim is under the stage when the curtain closes. Jim lowers a part of the carpet under the wall, which Harry passes through with his slim body. Arthur and his wife come backstage. They express their admiration for Harry. They believe he has supernatural powers. Arthur's wife asks Harry if they could meet sometime. This is because she is a spiritual medium. Harry thanks her. Then he tells Arthur he has no supernatural powers, and that he's just a magician deceiving the audience. But Arthur doesn't believe him. He says he is just being humble. Harry cannot reply and just thanks him. The next day, Harry met someone from British intelligence. He asked him to go on a second tour to gather more information for them. Harry was torn between settling down with his wife and caring for his mother, and listening to intelligence. He asked the agent what would happen if he refused. The agent threatened him, saying the British and American public would be upset with him. So he agreed. He bid farewell to his mother, who was sad about his departure. She had a feeling she would die. The next day, Harry presented a show about a murder that happened in the city. He had Bess impersonate the victim. It was as if her spirit was inside her wanting to reveal the killer. The audience was very annoyed by his show and left. Harry felt guilty. Suddenly, he received a message from his mother. As soon as he read it, he collapsed on the floor. Bess knew that she had died. He canceled his tour and returned to bury her. There he asked his brother Dash about the last thing his mother said. They told him she said to forgive. He understood she was telling him to forgive his father. After the funeral, Harry felt broken. He couldn't accept his mother's death until one day he met a psychic who claimed he could help him communicate with her. But every time he sat with one, he discovered they were frauds. So Harry went to the press. He announced a $10,000 challenge for any medium who could make him speak to his mother. Many psychics accepted the challenge, but they all failed, until Harry reached the most famous medium in the world. She was communicating with the other side through her deceased brother. At the time they gathered, the lights went out, and a strange bell rang on its own. Then a scary voice appeared, sounding like her brother's. It started insulting Harry, and refused to let him communicate with his mother. Then the medium screamed in pain and asked him to turn on the lights. Harry clapped for them and exposed their trick. He realized that the person ringing the bell was the medium's husband, and the strange voice they heard was the medium's own voice. They got up and left him. She asked him to stay at the hotel, and offered herself to him in exchange for not exposing them. But Harry refused and kicked her out of the room. One day, Harry met Arthur Conan Doyle for the second time. Mrs. Doyle offered to help him communicate with his mother. Harry agreed and went with her into a room. Mrs. Doyle managed to convince him that his mother was the one talking and crying. Harry cried with her and left happy. He took the paper where Mrs. Doyle had written what his mother supposedly said. But suddenly, Harry understood the trick. He told Jim that his mother didn't even speak English. She didn't know a single word of it. And that his mother would never forget his birthday, which was that same day. Jim tried to calm him down and asked him not to attack Mrs. Doyle or everyone would attack him, because they adore the character of Sherlock Holmes. But Harry didn't care. He went and threatened Mr. and Mrs. Doyle that he would expose them. The next day, news of Mrs. Doyle's lies and deception actually spread. It became a scandal all over the world. Harry continued his shows while trying to find anyone who could help him contact his mother, but to no avail. One day, he was performing a show when his leg suddenly twisted. The doctor came to put a cast on it, but Harry refused completely because he had a show, and decided to use braces to continue his work. A while later, 2 artists came to draw him. Suddenly, a strange man entered and punched Harry in the stomach hard. Because Harry wasn't prepared for the blow, he fell to the ground in pain. But he decided not to show it to anyone so he could finish his shows. Before starting the show, Harry fell to the floor from exhaustion and was taken to the hospital. There, the doctors discovered a ruptured appendix and the infection spreading everywhere in his body, which caused a case of gangrene. Unfortunately, there was no cure for his condition, and he collapsed. Harry's brother came to say goodbye to him, and Arthur sent him a letter expressing his love for him. And despite his disagreements with his wife, he is certain that he is an exceptional person and one of a kind. Harry is spending his final days in the hospital, pondering the true reason behind him running away his whole life. Was he actually running from death, or was he running from life? Harry writes that he spent every day of his life defying death, as if he truly wanted to die. And he realizes that his preoccupation with death kept him from living. He talks to his doctor and tells him that his entire life was built on lies and deception, and that he wished he could have been a doctor like him, doing real and useful things to help people. The doctor is very surprised and tells him that even a single minute of his time was enough to make people happy, and that his presence affected everyone, even if it was for a short while, a time during which they could forget their worries and laugh. Harry is moved by the doctor's words and thanks him, and Harry dies after understanding that death is real and inevitable. And that was the end of the series. If you like the content, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell to receive all new updates. Write to us in the comments what you thought of the film and tell us what you want us to summarize in the next video, and I'll see you in the next video, and I'll see you in the next video.